If you're moving to Colorado Springs and you're thinking about buying a new build, don't sign anything until you watch this video.
There are so many things that we wish people knew before buying a new construction.
Builder incentives, should you get an inspection? Are there quick move-in homes? Can I build from the ground up? There's HOAs, metro districts, sometimes both. And today we're covering all of it.
And some of these things can save you thousands of dollars.
So grab some coffee because this is everything no one tells you about buying a new built home in Colorado Springs. I'm Madison.
I'm Beau.
And we're a husband and wife real estate team here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We help a ton of military and relocation clients buy homes here in Colorado Springs, and a ton of them end up being new construction homes.
So let's start with probably the biggest misconception. Builders aren't all the same.
Different builders have different price points, and there are multiple neighborhoods in Colorado Springs, and within those neighborhoods, there's usually a few different builders. Different builders include different upgrades, and they have different things that's included in the price point. So for example, you have a builder who has landscaping and fencing including in the price point, and a builder where that's going to be your responsibility. Some homes have larger lots. Some homes let you have privacy fences or will install privacy fences for you already. Some homes have split level fences. So if you are wanting privacy from your neighbors, that may be something that you're not interested in. Some builders focus on starter homes and some have a more luxury feel. So some homes have upgraded features and fixtures, appliances, and some homes are just gonna have the basic kind of spec level finishes. And some homes will include the appliances and some do not. So there's a lot of pros and cons, different price points, and it's good to compare all of the different builders and all of the different communities.
So when people ask, who's the best builder?
Honestly, don't have an answer to that because it is all a personal preference. It depends on what you're looking for, your budget, your timeline, what's important to you, and where you want to be in the city.
So not only is the builder going to be different, but they also have different communities. So you could look at one builder in this community and you could look at the same builder in a totally different community, and that home's going to have different features. Some of the popular communities that a lot of our clients are looking into, those communities are going to be Flying Horse, The Glen, Bradley Heights, Lorson Ranch, Wolf Ranch, Banning Lewis Ranch, Sterling Ranch, The Trails, Cordera.
And there are a ton of new communities that are coming soon and just being built as well.
So all of these communities are going to be different just depending on what you're looking for. Some of them are going to have rec centers. Some of them are going to have different features like Madison was talking about. If a fence is more important to you, then you might want to look in areas like Bradley Heights or The Trail. If having a community center is more important to you, then you might want to look at areas like Wolf Ranch, Banning Lewis Ranch. A lot of those communities up north tend to have rec centers with them.
If you're looking in like the Peyton Falcon area as well, Meridian Ranch is going to be a good one that has all of those amenities included. So let's talk about quick move-in homes versus building your home from the ground up, which is called a dirt start.
So let's start with, what is a quick move-in home? Basically, these are homes that are already built or almost built.
So let's talk about the pros and cons of a quick move-in home. So for a quick move-in home, you can move quickly. So for anyone that's relocating here, maybe you were thinking about renting and now you're like, okay, I actually do want to buy. We need something quick. A new build that's ready to go, a spec home, is going to be a great option because they can move very quickly and you typically don't have to go through all of the additional steps that you do with a resale home. They also offer incentives. Every builder is going to be different, but they are typically pretty good ones. So you can usually get a lower than market rate. And then some builders also offer flex cash, and that's funds that you can use to cover your closing costs, buy down the purchase price, buy down the interest rate. And for VA buyers, you can also pay off other debts. So credit cards, cars, there's a lot of benefits. And usually if they're offering that flex cash, you can use it different ways. So you can cover your closing costs and you can also buy down your rate a little bit. You can buy down the purchase price a little bit, maybe pay off a credit card, and you can do it all in one. It's not like you have to throw all those funds into one area. You also know exactly what you're getting. So when you're buying a resale home, sometimes obviously you buy a home. As a homeowner, you're taking on a certain amount of risk. So you don't know if tomorrow the water heater is going to break, or you're going to realize that, there's something going on with the plumbing that you weren't aware of, or those big ticket things that you just kind of take on the risk when you're buying that resale home. And with a new build, there's typically a warranty. So those things like if the water heater broke, that's usually going to be covered under warranty, or things that you weren't expecting, you're going to have that kind of extra reassurance and protection. So there are some cons, of course, with a spec home, and one of those being you don't get to choose your finishes. So sometimes it's fun doing a new build home and getting to choose the finishes and the floor plan and all the little things that are important to you. And with a spec home, of course, the builder's already put it together and you're just moving into that home. So there's less personalization than if you were to do a dirt start. So this isn't specific to spec homes in general, but with new builds, sometimes people say they lack character. You have building going on around you usually until that community is finished out. And then the neighborhood in general sometimes lacks a little bit of character. So in the older neighborhoods, you usually have super mature trees and it feels kind of like a community feel because it's usually been around a while. And with a new build, you're kind of getting there in the beginning and helping grow the community, but it's not there. And sometimes you don't have that feeling immediately when you move in.
What's a dirt start? Basically, that's when you're going to get to build the home from the ground up. So the home, they might have just broke ground on it, but they haven't started actual construction of it yet. So you get to choose. Do you want the flex room or would you rather have the loft instead? You're going to get to go to the design center. You're going to be able to pick the type of flooring you want throughout the house, how you want your cabinets to look, the different type of hardware that you're going to use. So you'll basically be able to just make the home how you want it to be.
And one benefit as well with the dirt start is you can, if they're just breaking ground, you can go in and customize it, but you can also choose your lot and your floor plan. So sometimes they have specific floor plans that will go on specific lots, but for the most part, you can kind of look at the map, say, hey, I want this lot on the corner and I'd really love to put that floor plan on there. So it's super customizable, which is nice.
So when it comes to the cons, it's really just the timeline. They're building a home from the ground up. That's going to take time. And again, every builder's different in terms of how long that's going to take for them to finish it. Throughout the process, there can be delays that happen, whether it's because they're waiting for materials, whether it's weather delays. Those things are going to happen. It's going to have a lengthy timeline, and even those can get pushed back further. That can make it really difficult for someone that's PCSing and you're on a strict timeline. You might not be able to rely on the home being ready for when you actually get here. In that case, if you're building from the ground up, you might want to have a backup plan in place. Maybe plan to stay at a hotel or an Airbnb, or if you have family staying out here, ask if you could stay with them while the home's getting finished up.
Another thing that can be beneficial is sometimes with spec homes, they're going to be a little bit of a better financial deal. Most of the time, a new build is going to have incentives, but usually when you're building from the ground up, it may be a little bit less. The spec homes that are ready to go are going to typically have the highest amount of incentives because they want to get those sold. So if you're coming in and you're like, hey, we need to move in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 30 days, those homes we're gonna have the highest negotiation power because they want to move them. With builder incentives, we'll talk about a few things that go with that. So with new builds, sometimes they have preferred lenders. So some new builds will allow you to use whichever lender you choose. Some have incentives tied to their lenders, so you will have to use the builder's lender. They also have interest rate buy downs. So some builders have a fixed rate that they're going to offer for their homes. Some builders, like I said, offer that flex cash where you can apply it to a rate buy down, but you can also apply it other places such as buying down the purchase price or covering closing costs for VA buyers paying off other debts.
We love buying down a rate because that's going to allow you to get more home at a lower overall monthly payment. Typically. So if you're looking at a $400,000 home, but you're able to get a lower than market interest rate by buying down that interest rate, that's going to give you more purchase power.
But you, of course, want to chat with a lender and see what makes most sense for you. And then, of course, covering your closing costs. So with a VA loan, you have no down payment, but sometimes people don't realize that there are still closing costs. Those can range anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. It's super dependent on each situation, but you want to take those into account. So when you're buying a new build and you have that flex cash, you can typically get those closing costs covered. So then truly you don't have a down payment, you don't have your closing costs. The only thing you have to keep in mind is the earnest money. So that's typically anywhere from $1,000 to a few $1,000s, but it's always negotiable and that's going to either come back to you at closing or go towards your loan. So with a new build, it's truly very minimal, if any, out-of-pocket cost because you're getting those closing costs covered. And then there's also the appliance package. So like we had mentioned, not all new builds include appliances. and some will. We are able to negotiate that. So sometimes they have a move-in package where it includes the washer, dryer, refrigerator. And like we mentioned, not all new builds include the appliances. So that's something that we can negotiate as well with the concessions, is including all of the appliances. So that's not something that you have to worry about when you get here. Blinds. This is something that kind of takes people by surprise. I know it took us by surprise when we bought our home. So most new builds don't include the blinds. So that's, again, something that we can negotiate. And if it's not included, it's something that you want to budget in so that when you move into your home, you don't have a wide open glass house where everyone's looking in your windows at night. So definitely something that A, we either want to negotiate, or B, you want to budget for when you move into your home. And then price reduction. So again, if they're offering that flex cash, you can use a little bit towards the rate buy down, a little bit to buy down the purchase price. Sometimes they'll put it all towards the purchase price if that's what makes most sense to you. Again, having that lower interest rate is great, but it's really going to be a conversation between you and your lender to see what makes the most sense and what's most important to you. And the incentive amount varies very widely. So sometimes, like I said, they just have the fixed rate that they're offering. Sometimes they're offering that flex cash. I've seen anywhere from $5,000 to upwards of $70,000. So it can make a huge difference just depending on the builder, the timeline, and what they're able to offer and what we're able to help negotiate.
That's a great reason why you want to explore builders, because you could be looking at builder A and they're offering $5,000 in incentives, or you can go to builder B and they're offering $60,000, so you're able to get more house for your money. So never assume that the advertised price is the final price.
Exactly. Sometimes we can negotiate additional incentives just depending on the builder and the situation. And like I said, if it's a spec home that they're wanting gone, that's going to give us a lot more negotiation power. Incentives change frequently. Sometimes they'll go in and offer a certain incentive amount just for the weekend or for a certain holiday. Sometimes they'll one day be offering, let's say, $20,000, and the next day they bump it up to $40,000, and it's not across the community or across the builder. It's usually tied to the home. So some people might look at something and be like, hey, we were looking at this home and they're only offering $20,000, but down the street they're offering $50,000. And it's very specific to the home and what they need to move off of their books. Definitely something that we can negotiate, but if you see something and you're like, why is this one offering this and this one offering another? Again, specific to the builder, specific to the home. So you're buying a new build and you're thinking, do I still need a realtor? Yes. The builder rep works for the builder, so essentially they are the agent representing the builder. You want an agent representing you, advocating for you, standing in your corner, negotiating the best possible incentives, making sure that everything stays on track. Inspection helps. So do you need an inspection on a new build? We'll talk about this here in a second. Totally up to you, but if you do decide to get one, having an agent in your corner that will help provide that inspection report to the builder, making sure everything gets addressed. And if you're not here yet, maybe you're relocating or PCSing, we will attend the inspection for you and make sure everything gets sent over to the builder so all those repairs are completed prior to closing.
A blue tape walk is also another reason why you might want to have a realtor. So a blue tape walk is when you go through the home and you point out things that the builder needs to update before you actually move in. So normally it's done towards the end when the home is pretty much finished, but having a realtor in your corner is going to be very useful. One, if you're here, awesome, but now you have two sets of eyes looking at the house and pointing out things that need to get fixed. But if you're out of state, we can do the blue tape walk for you, and this is something we do all the time, so we know what to look for, we know things to point out in order to make sure that the home is ready for you when you're here and ready to move in. The final walkthrough, that's also very similar to the blue tape walk, but that's going to be just normally right before you're closing. So right before you get the keys to the house, you're going to do a final walkthrough, normally with the superintendent. They're going to point out the different features of the home, but that's also time for you to look at, okay, was everything completed that should have been completed on the blue tape walk? Having a realtor in your corner is, again, going to give you that extra set of eyes, and if you're not here, then we can do that final walkthrough for you.
So should you get an inspection with a new build?
The question we get all the time is, it's a brand new house. Why am I going to pay for an inspection?
And this is probably one of the biggest misconceptions. Humans build homes. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things that are missed. The plumbing, the HVAC, the roof, things happen, and we want to make sure that those are addressed prior to closing. Of course, you do have the warranty, so you have that extra reassurance if something does happen or if something is missed, but it's always nice to get everything addressed and making sure everything's in working order before you sign those papers and before you get those keys.
Going back to the blue tape walk, that's when you're gonna walk through the house. You're literally gonna put blue tape on everything you see that you want fixed, right? Hey, maybe there's a scratch in the paint chip in this cabinet or in the drywall. Maybe there's a gap in the flooring. Maybe the trim doesn't fit right, or the door is finicky and won't shut. You might see scratches, again, whether that's on the countertop or on the floors or on the window. The caulking, maybe they didn't seal around the windows. That's when you're gonna go through, you're gonna put blue tape around everything you see, and normally the builders are gonna have that fixed before closing time.
After we do the inspection and the blue tape walk, we have the final walkthrough. This is usually done the morning of closing. We are checking that appliances work. We're making sure that all of the blue tape was addressed and all the paint was fixed, the chipping, doors all latched correctly, the gates latched correctly. We are just making sure that everything was addressed, everything's in working order before we sign those papers and we hand over the keys. So we talked about the inspection, but like I said, you also have that warranty. Every builder's warranty is a little bit different, but typically they have a certain amount of time that covers the cosmetic things of the home, and then they have a certain amount of time that covers the plumbing and electrical, and then they have a longer amount of time that covers the foundation of the home. And usually, like I said, every builder is different, but usually that foundation warranty is transferable to the next buyers if you do go to sell the home, which can help be a selling point. If you don't get an inspection before you close, totally okay, that's your choice, but we do at least encourage you to get an inspection prior to the warranty expiring after that first year. So like I said, you have longer warranties for the plumbing, electrical, foundation, but that first year at like the 9 to 10, 11 month mark, we suggest getting an outside inspection done, having them come through and check everything in the home so then you can submit that report to the builder before the warranty expires so you can get everything addressed that may be going on with the home before that warranty expires, and it's then your responsibility.
So next, let's talk about HOAs and metro districts. First, what are these? The HOA is going to control like the neighborhood rules, the amenities in the area, if any. HOA is the one that's going to make sure that you're keeping up your property, right? Are you pulling the weeds? Are you adding features to the home that maybe you're not supposed to? Are you painting your house pink or building a castle in the backyard? Now, the metro district, that helps pay for the infrastructure. Sometimes with metro districts, you're going to pay a monthly fee. Sometimes it's included in your property taxes. Like HOAs, some metro districts are going to have rules and regulations for you to follow as well. Some neighborhoods are going to have both HOAs and metro districts. So having a realtor is going to help clarify what is in your specific neighborhood and what does that mean for you. A lot of people hear HOA or metro district and they panic. Personally, we live in an area that has a metro district, but their goal overall is just to help maintain your property value.
And sometimes you do have HOAs or metro districts that can have a pretty high monthly cost, but some are relatively inexpensive. So for example, our metro district is $60 a quarter. And like Beau said, they help upkeep your property value, and we haven't really had any issues with them. I mean, we have a playground in our backyard, a trampoline. We really just had to ask for permission and haven't had any issues. And we would still buy in this community with the metro district. After living here for 2 years, we haven't had any issues.
Also, when it comes to HOAs and metro districts, you're paying these fees, but normally they go to benefit you, right? Outside of making sure that you're maintaining your property value, a lot of them are going to offer amenities as well. So in our community, really they're just offering trash, but in other communities where you have a rec center, a swimming pool, or like maybe you have a tennis ball courts or pickleball courts, those are all going to be funded by the HOA and the metro district.
So let's talk about taxes and new builds, because this is something that I rarely hear being touched on. I am definitely not a tax professional, and this is something based on what we have experienced personally. But always keep in mind that your taxes are going to go up, because at first they're going to be estimating the taxes based on a dirt lot. And then when you build a home on that dirt lot, of course your taxes are going to go up. So this is a conversation to have with your lender, and they typically overestimate, but just know that when you're like, hey, why are my taxes so low this first year, higher after that? It's because first they were estimating on a dirt lot, now they're estimating on a home.
If you're closing on a new build, your timeline is going to be different, whether you're closing on a spec home or you're closing on a dirt start. With a spec home, you can normally close as early as 30 to 45 days. This is great for someone if you're PCSing out here. Maybe you were planning to rent first and you came out here and you decided that renting wasn't right for you, but you want to move into a home now. You don't want to pay for an Airbnb or a hotel or bother staying with family. So this is a perfect way to get you in the home quickly.
30 to 45 days is typical, but if you need a super quick move, usually the lender and the builder can work fairly quickly. So I've seen anywhere from like 12 days to 20 days. It definitely can go quicker as long as we have all of our ducks in a row, everyone's cooperating. It is definitely something that is doable.
When it comes to a dirt start, normally that's going to take, again, several months, just depending on the construction of the home and the builder that you're going with. When you first start, builders are normally going to give you estimate dates, but again, those can shift. The thing that no one really talks about, Madison touched on it a little bit earlier, but when you first move into these new builds, the neighborhood does feel empty. I remember when we first moved into ours, there really wasn't anyone here.
So when we first moved in, we were one of the first houses in the community. The streets felt empty. There was a ton of construction going on around us for quite a while. There were no parks in the neighborhood. We didn't have a ton of neighbors. Our first Halloween, I think we actually went trick-or-treated in a different neighborhood because there were like 15 people here. But fast forward 2 years later, we now absolutely love it. We have a great community. We have a park going in. We have food truck Fridays. We have a ton of neighbors. Kids are outside riding their bikes. We have friends in the community, a neighborhood Facebook group where everyone chats and is super supportive. It's honestly just really cool being here for 2 years, going from having a super empty neighborhood to watching this community come to life. So you can have that kind of lonely feeling, and this is an odd, construction neighborhood with no one near us, to then watching it grow and watching the community actually form, getting to be a part of that. So really getting to know your neighbors. We actually put together our food truck Friday, and it's been so great getting to know everyone and being here from the beginning. So yes, there's a con at first, but it's worth it getting to watch the community grow.
Of course, we can never predict the market, but buying a new build can be a great way to try to get some equity in your home. Think about when you first buy the house, there's not a whole lot in the area. But now years down the line, if you're looking to sell, maybe the neighborhood is fully built up. Now you have parks, maybe you have grocery stores nearby. All of those things can help adding to your property value.
We've been here 2 years, and like I said, our community itself is built up, and now they have on the corner of where our neighborhood is, they are advertising that they're going to start putting in grocery stores and hopefully coffee shops. So I'm hoping that when we go to sell in a few years, now we bought when there was absolutely nothing out here, and now that there is a ton, parks, restaurants, hopefully shopping, it's going to add to our property value.
If you're moving to Colorado Springs and you're trying to decide, is a new build right for you? We'd love to help.
We can tour homes with you in person, or if you're moving from out of state, we can put together a list of homes that may fit your criteria and do some video tours for you.
We'll help you compare builders, neighborhoods, incentives, and figure out what actually makes the most sense for your budget and your lifestyle.
If this video was helpful, make sure you like and you subscribe, and let us know in the comments what questions you still have about new builds or moving to Colorado Springs. Like Beau said, if you are relocating to Colorado Springs, we would absolutely love to help you. Our messages are always open. Our information is in the description. Feel free to call or text us anytime, and we'll see you next time.